And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, as the Hitbox Stormgrounds will continue. Game number one, fantastic showing from Bob, able to put down Kappa123 for a win, and that means that match number two is now ready to go. We're going into Sky Temple, and already the draft is off to the races as Kappa123 with the first pick, first ban. They're going to say, nope, not dealing with that Zagara once more. The zone control that it afforded them, the lane, the sustain, especially on Sky Temple, you can get a lot of value out of a bottom lane Zagara, out of a top lane Zagara, especially if you are going to be setting yourself up for a little bit more of a roam comp. So, nope, no dice today. Zagara as the first ban. Bob, now what we traditionally see is a Zeratul ban right here. What have we not been seeing a lot of this weekend? Zeratul bans right here. So, the big target last time was Kael'thas, and he is actually going to be that repeat Kael'thas here. So Kappa123 have a blank slate at this point. There's a top 3 power ring that they could go through right now. Jaina, Leoric, Zeratul, and they are going to opt for the Zeratul first. Now, Bob, they're going to come back into this one. They got to know, Jaina's on the board. Leoric seems to be a fantastic pick into this. Nazebo is big priority these days as well. Johanna, will Bob actually go for the double J's once more, since they are the ones without any more picks until that second ban phase, but they are going to take the Leoric instead. Kappa123, they got to be thinking about this now. It's just like, all right, there's the power 3 already chosen. What can we do to kind of combat this a little bit? Well, Johanna, she was a big pick last round. Could actually go into a hit here as well. Kappa123, if they want to play something a little dicey as well, could go into a support. The Malfurion, the Uther, the Rhaegar, like, there's really just no wrong support as of yet for this team comp. But what did we see last time in the second ban phases? Well, with the Johanna on board, Kappa123 went for a ban on the Anubarak and the Mirrodin. And as well as they actually had the first ban, Leoric, if you recall. And then this is a Leoric now here. But Kappa123, they're going to switch it up a little bit. Zeratul, Abathur is going to come into that. It's a scary comp right there. They got the split push. They got the split soak. And now they got that battle hat on top of the Zeratul. Again, like, if you want to kind of play it safe, this is probably where you're going to be putting the support. And Abathur to go with that support. You might look a little light on damage, but from there you're going to need, a range to kind of go into the back there from Zeratul. And with Kael'thas and Jaina out, you might be looking at a little bit more of a Vala, a little bit more of a Sylvanas coming into it. But in terms of a warrior as well, I mean, Johanna's still up on the board, Mirrodin, any of the supports. Really kind of depends on what 123 or Kappa123 want to just kind of live with as that last pick. And there's the Malfurion now. So with that Malfurion, with the Abathur Zeratul, they're saying, all right, they got a Leoric. It's very likely going to be a double warrior comp here from Bob. But whatever warrior's left over, depending on the bans that we're about to see, Kappa123 is okay with it. We did just see Bob win with a Stitches. You kind of don't think about that for a lot, but then it hits you. They won with a Stitches. They don't really care what their second warrior is going to be, but they are going to be the ones to come back out of this one for the first pick. So Johanna, Mirrodin, Tyrael, if they really want a heavy engage comp, Tyrael, Leoric, Jaina, that is going to be absolutely sick. But will that be a ban? Are we going to be targeting something else out? Mirrodin is already Malfurion is already picked up from Kappa. Could they go for a ban on like a Rhaegar or an Uther? That would be forcing Bob into a support. Could they go for a ban on a warrior, knowing that already Leoric's out and they can actually just deal with any of them? What warrior goes extremely well with Leoric? Well, Johanna, Jaina. That's a heck of a combo. Johanna just in general as a heck of a combo is quite up there. But it is going to be a Tyrael ban coming up from Bob. If they were looking for the threat of a crispy taco, could absolutely have been happening. The Tyrael, the Falstad on the back of a Zeratul VP. You VP a part of the team, and then you crispy taco into someone else. You put the Abathur hat on top of Tyrael or the Zeratul if he needs to blink in, and you got yourselves a 4-man destruction squad on top of one poor innocent little soul there on Bob. So if Bob was thinking about that, and they don't want to deal with that, it's out. Don't worry. Kappa now got to say, what can we actually ban here? If I had to guess on a support role, it's probably going to be a Rhaegar. Because what did we see last time? Big distributed damage. Uther can't handle it. And Zeratul's going to be poking in around the place. You're going to have the Abathur hat. Uther can't deal with big distributed damage models. So if they ban out the Rhaegar, that's forcing out the Uther for Bob. but it's going to be the Tyrande instead. So a little bit more of the bruiser, a little bit more of a fight coming into that one. And with the double warrior, Tyrande actually is a very common kind of thing, because not only is it a little bit of extra heals, it's a little bit of extra damage, and that vulnerability with the Hunter's Mark from her passive can actually go a long way to augmenting your warrior's damage. So it wasn't quite the support I was thinking for the ban, but it's a good ban nonetheless. There's the Johanna to go with Leoric and Jaina. Now, I would have to guess, Rhaegar's going to be left to the last, Rhaegar or Uther. I can't imagine it's going to be a double support with the Abathur from Kappa. So they don't need to pick up their support here. They're going to do it anyways. Bob just not willing to give out that Uther whatsoever. But they do need another damage to add to the back of that. Nazebo is still up. Zagar is out. Azmodan could still be actually a pick here from Bob. They got the Jaina, they got the Johanna. They spread out with the other two, and you go from lane to lane, and you start stacking. As well, you can be throwing out those orbs from afar. You can kind of poke away at people sitting on temples, getting those laser charges. You can poke at them in lane. If you find an Abathur, later on, he's probably just going to drop because of that damage. It's absolutely ludicrous what you can do with a properly stacked Azmodan. And this is kind of the map that Tempo Storm, invented. This, at least on the NI side of things. It was Sky Tempo that they originally brought this into being, because we didn't have Tomb of the Spider Queen once upon a time. But Nazebo is going to be the pickup here from Kappa. They're not going to be willing to give it up there to Bob. So it is the double specialist once more. We still need, I think, a really hardcore damage, but unfortunately, you're just not going to get it. Now we need a warrior. Kappa123, if they go warriorless, my goodness, it's just going to be go over the moon if we ever find him again. But it has to be a tank here. So with that Joanna, with the Leoric, Mirrodin is definitely the #1 pick right now when it comes to kind of countering this. If it's not going to be that, it's got to be in the Nubarak. But there's not a lot of skill shots really here to block. Perhaps just the frost bolts there from Jaina. Nobody else really has any skill shots at that point. And it's going to be a Thrall. They are going to go warriorless. So he's going to hate himself for missing out this game. Double melee assassin. Abathur, Hat, Malfurion, and Nazebo onto the back of it. I did say they needed a little bit more of a damage. I wasn't really expecting a Thrall, to be honest. I am now going to be triple checking from admin messages to see if there's anything said about this one. All right, I don't see anything from the admins. Last time we didn't have a warrior. This time we don't have a warrior, but okay, it is. The admins are telling me it's Mirrodin. It's not Thrall. I don't know what's up with the site today on Heroes Draft, but my goodness, is it ever given me goosebumps. All right, Thrall is a Mirrodin. Makes much more sense. So the Mirrodin to go with the Zeratul Abathur Hat. That's a heck of a lot of poke. Good amount of dime on top of that. Nazebo into the back. Unless this is going to be a Ravenous, I'm not entirely confident that we're going to have the damage to deal with Bob, especially with Uther and that Divine Shield, because it just doesn't feel like we have enough AoE damage. Like, the distributed damage models are what Malfurion and Rhaegar and Brightwing are able to really kind of deal with. They can deal with that AoE damage. Uther can't, but Kappa's not really bringing that. Like, we're going to have Cleave and Spike Burst, which is great and fun, and then Mirrodin's going to have Thunderclap, but that isn't big burst damage. So I'm not entirely sure Kappa has enough burst in the bank to kind of be beating up this team. Like, look at Bob. It is the last pick Azmodan. So, we said this. A properly stacked Azmodan can make a lot of things happen. Johanna, Jaina, masters of putting together the stacking comp. It just works out wonderfully, especially if you can't contest it. And I'm not entirely sure, again, that this is going to be a comp from Kappa that can contest it. But at the same time, Bob, Azmodan has a warrior's health pool, basically. Johanna is unstoppable. Leoric is going to be draining your hit points and lifestealing you away all the way to death. These are not targets that are going to go down easy. Uther by himself, he has a penchant of walking away. Sunglasses, cool paladins, don't look at explosions. This is going to be really hard, I think, for Kappa. And I think Bob has an absolutely divine draft up against this. They saw the Zeratul Abathur. They went for the double warrior. They added another hero with a warrior's hit points. And on the back of that, divine shields and the heals that can deal with this distributed damage. I think Bob 100% has won the draft going forward into this one. The only vulnerable target is going to be Jaina. And I say vulnerable in a very loose sense in that regard. So Very cool. Very cool kind of drafts going back and forth. And we're going to be loading into the map here momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Sky Temple. I do have word that Zoya's computer went pop, and we're not entirely too sure what he's going to be able to do about it, which is cool, but I feel for him. His computer issues couldn't come at a worse time. On that note as well, just before we jump in, we have a giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. So SteelSeries, as our sponsor, are very generous. You can win 2 of the SteelSeries Sensei Raw Heroes of the Storm Edition mice, or 1 of the SteelSeries QCK Heroes of the Storm Edition mouse pads. Both of them look pretty baller, I gotta say. And you can win a chance, or at least you can have a chance to win. You can win a chance. That'd be fun. But all you gotta do is tweet us your Hitbox username, use the hashtag Stormgrounds, and in your tweet, and you join the giveaway. Easy as that. We're going to be giving away, we gave away 3 yesterday. Today we're giving away 3 more. And on our finals on August 6th, coming up on Thursday, we'll be giving away 3 more as well. So it's easy peasy. You're watching the stream, go home with some swag, ladies and gentlemen. It's that easy, courtesy of our friends at SteelSeries. So big props to them, big kudos. And now here we are, loading in to Sky Temple. Capture the temples, hold the temples, defend the temples. I hope you're seeing a theme here. It's all about temples at this point. And speaking of temples, there is a really rather popular way to kind of go against some of those objectives. So what the objectives do is they attack buildings. And, that's cool and all. Attacking buildings is great. So what can you do to repair buildings? Well, you can mule. And right now, one side cannot actually mule whatsoever. And we'll get to that. Because on the left-hand side here, ladies and gentlemen, once more, Snitch, G2, ADRD, RIP G2, I guess, Zarmony, Ethereal Angel, and Bakery. They're going to be making up the team of Bob here on the left-hand side. And on the right, it is going to be Descape, Alistor, Zypho, Conti, and Tomsy once more for Kappa123 here in a match 2 with Bob leading 1-0. Already off to the races as well. Looks like they're looking to die for that eye. And it's not going to be working out quite this time. It does look like control will go over to Kappa. Doesn't really mean too much. A little bit of poke going back and forth. Some love taps from the team. But we'll have to see how they set up. With this Asmodan Roman comp, Snitch looks like he's actually going to be into the top. So if it is actually going to be Ethereal Angel on that Johanna, you would have expected Jaina to kind of go with them. But so far, it looks like she's going to be holding down Fort up top, and ADRD is now going to be roaming with at least Ethereal Angel and Zarmony. So instead of Jaina, they're using the mighty swing. That's what's happening. It's Leoric and Johanna, the double warriors. They're not looking for any kind of aggression. They're looking for the stacking game. And the stacking game is going to be a little hard for ADRD, because the more that he shows himself, the more that we're going to have this collapse coming in. Zypho actually looking to get collapsed upon. He's a little bit too far forward right there up against Kappa, or up against Bob. But it's actually going to be Abathur. I think Abathur died top? I don't actually know where he died, but Zypho low into the mid. Looks like skin of his teeth, but he will get out of that one. The things you don't expect in game number 1 is a first blood Abathur. So Tomsy into the top, he's right on the edge of that. That's why. So Snitch has just been punishing that by pushing in, found him, caught him, and the rest was history right there. Level 3 about to come in, a little bit of an advantage going the way of Bob, but to escape, he's on that one temple. Nobody actually to the top yet, and the bottom lane has been pretty devoid of life. A lot of the resources here from Kappa have been going in and trying to stomp out Asmodan. And that hasn't really been working a lot. But because of that as well, there's been nobody into the bottom lanes. ADRD, you saw that promote down there. Or sorry, not the promote, but the general. You know it's going to be a promote later on. But right now, Zypho, he's really just trying to stick to that Lord of Sin like glue. And it's, results are varying. They are getting some pretty good poke going back and forth. But so far, no takedowns as of yet. Bakery into the top. Looks like he's going to be able to sit down on top of that temple. Easy peasy. Escape is still just kind of... He's doing the world tour here on this point. It's actually kind of funny, but it looks like all the shots will eventually go over to Kappa. And that's going to be some pretty significant damage there into the mid. Into the top, Escape, not looking so healthy. Snitch, almost able to take down the dwarf, but the Blizzard doesn't hit. And you can see Tomsy into the bottom lane there as well on Abathur, doing a little bit of soak. Zero Angel is going to come in, but can't quite see Tomsy there. still sets up very nicely. The orb is going to land and is true. Asmodan, 92 stacks in 3 minutes. God, I wish I could do that in my solo queue games. I'll tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. Level 6 is coming in, so the level experience is now really starting to show its colors. The advantage clearly going the way to... I could have sworn it was Bob on the left-hand side, but I could be wrong by the end of it all. Either way, left-hand side doing really good. Zarmany is actually going to miss out on that Leoric hook, so no lifesteal for him. That's alright. Everyone is now coming into this bottom lane because, again, like, nobody there. Abathur is not going to be holding that lane against any kind of aggression. And Ethereal Angel able to take out that tower. Now Zarmany now looking to threaten to push in mid. Mid is actually looking fairly good, but top absolutely destroyed. We're starting to run out of places for Tomzy to hide. There's just not going to be any kind of, big structures for him to safely sit. But, that's an issue that he's going to have to just deal with going into this one. Oh, speaking of that issue, boom, the slug hits down. Snitch and Bakery just rush it right through. 2 takedowns, and the only 2 are Abathur. This is an absolutely crazy game. Level 7's coming in, and color me surprised, there's no mule. There's no mule. As I said, the left-hand side, they can't actually mule. They don't have anybody on that team that can mule. But on the other side, I mean, we got Nazeebo, we got Malfurion. Which one's going to sacrifice for it? It's going to be the Abathur. 3 mule potential targets. So he's going to start working away at some of his buildings going back and forth. So I do have to actually issue corrections, I guess. It is Kappa on the left and Bob on the right. Apparently my EU knowledge guy lied to me, so I do apologize about that one, ladies and gentlemen. Into the mid, though. A little bit of tussle going back and forth as Escape and crew not looking so healthy after all of that. We do get a Malfurion heal on top of Escape, and he's going to be alright by the end of it, but no takedowns as of yet for Team Bob. They're setting 1-0 on this, but yeah, they have not put a single point on the board. Another orb going out to the mid there from ADRD. He is stacking like a boss at this point. Now with that tempo coming down into the bottom lane, it is ready to go. We got Abathur into the top. He is way, way far away from that creep wave. He is not getting that blessed double soak that he wants, but he also has to now deal with that Leoric top. Nazeebo into the bottom. He's going to actually be the big casualty here as the 4-on-4 is still working highly in favor of Kappa123. Escape is not escaping out of that one. The roots are going to be good, but Johanna is way too healthy. Nobody's on that temple whatsoever. And now with that other tower down, the ults are going to be coming into it. The heroics are real for Kappa123, and that is going to be March of the Black King, the Summon Water Elemental, Blessed Shield, Divine, and if I had to guess, it's the Black Pool, and there it is. This is going to be a fort bottom. It's a fort top, as Zarmany has just been pushing in this entire time. Tomzy's not looking so hot. Zypho's not looking so hot. Could this be a march? Oh, if Zarmany, don't play with my don't play with my heart, man. That would have been an amazing march right there on top of Tomzy. I don't think you could have gotten away out of that one. But he doesn't use it. It will live to see another day, this Abathur slug. Zypho's still trying to do his best, but he has to be very careful. If there's a Drain Hope, and there it is, yeah, you gotta blink out of it, and that means you can't be aggressive here. Zypho has to use that blink for escape, but now we got the Abahat on top of him. Zarmany's looking for that escape himself. Here comes Zypho. He's going to just try to chase him down. The blink has already been used. That's going to be the march. That's going to be the heals. The Drain Hope is good. The creeps are not actually going to hit Zypho, but Zarmany will actually win out that duel. What else is going on? Mid lane, pushing in. ADRD, Snitch, and Bakery are there. Here comes the Zero Angel. That's the stun with the Blessed Shield, and Zeratul is out of it. There goes the Malfurion as well. And just, it's going from good to better to best. Kappa with all the forts now down at the 7-minute mark and a 3-level lead. They're about to hit level 13, and we still don't have heroics here from Bob. What a turnaround from game number 1. It's almost like we're watching 2 different teams at this point. Gotta say, power of that Leoric though, that surviving that duel up against the Abahat, my gosh, was it ever impressive. 236 stacks for our Asmodan here at the level 13 mark, and that is going to be a steal there on top of those bruisers. Conti and crew, they're going to be looking to put the hurt on top of Leoric, but he was wraith walking out. Escape there does have that level 10. Does he have the avatar? Will he pop it? Well, he has it. Nazeebo's actually going to drop very quickly. The Gargantuan was thrown at the last minute. Void Prison's now out to Tranquility. Where's the Tranquility, Conti? Here it comes. Zarmany, though, he's going to be looking for that march in just 3, 2, 1. Here it comes. Nope, he's maybe not just going. I really expected to see it there. Oh, well, that's all right. Another takedown as Malfarian is going to drop. The Tranquility is just not near enough. Zypho has to get out of dodge out of that one. Does avoid the orb, though. And ADRD, again, is just hitting like a truck with those orbs at this point. Still, Gate is gone. 14 to 10. It's a 4-level lead. All right, 3-level lead. And with double tempos coming in, the map control is basically in the hands here of Kappa123. If they don't get both of these temples and at least a keep, my goodness, like, we're going to have some kind of miracle defense here from Bob. Level 13's coming in. We do got the improved ice block on the left-hand side. March us in, Burning Rage. Double Burning Rage for the double warriors. Alrighty. Alrighty, Rube. Alright, so I am now being told that my original guy was right. It is Bob on the left. It is Kappa123 on the right. Shows you how much this commentator knows about team as Zarmany's about to drop. I could have sworn it was Bob on the left, but you know what? I can only go by what my admins tell me. So it is Bob on the left, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get that fixed on the overlay here for you in just a sec. But this makes much more sense. Bob winning 3 levels up. ADRD on the left-hand side is just absolutely dominating. Another triple kill going their way. Throws an orb off onto the side. Just passes the ball. Gets a heck of a lot of stacks out of it. 2 temples. We're up. 1 already down from that Uther. Uther into the back. He's going to go grab the other. We got Laser Hands. We got Snitch and crew just taking this temple to town. This could actually be a very quick sweep of this entire thing. And the super sweet spot is now in effect. 16 to 12. The 2 talent tier advantage is here from Bob. Snitch won't even go down with that ice block by the end of it all. Zypho's looking for that kill. He's not going to get it. But that's going to be the keep. The second keep is now heavily under fire. The mule is just working overtime at this point. ADRD in that zombie wall still is not going to go down. The hit point difference is amazing. Jaina, however, finally will. And this will sound the retreat here from Bob. Zarmany is going to drop, but that's okay. The orb will take down the Zeratul. Alistar is just going to have to run for his life with that sprint. It looks like he will live at least another day. Alistar, will he actually get dropped here? The orb is only going to go for the creeps. It will not grab that Witch Doctor. But still, that's 2 keeps to their name. Might have lost out a few kills. The level 13 talents coming into it, though, from Kappa on the right-hand side. Will this be enough? It's looking like no. They're 2 keeps down at the 10 minutes. They're 4 levels deep. And we only got that 1 keep into the top. The next tower, or sorry, the next temple spawns are going to be taking out this tower. It's going to be taking out this keep. Where this mule has been working overtime, but it's just not enough at this point. 2 keeps down is a very hard position to come back from. And how many stacks do we got? Well, we're at the 11-minute mark, and 280 stacks is the name of the game there, ladies and gentlemen. 280 stacks in 11 minutes. Now, the current world record is right now at 1109. 500 damage. We're nowhere near that, but still, you don't need to be anywhere near that to still be an effective Asmodan. ADRD has been pushing out other lanes with the promote. He's been hitting massive orbs, front and back and center. He even has imposing presence. Like, if that Zeratul jumps on him, Zeratul is just not going to get any kind of big damage out of this one. But Tomsy is going to look for that double Zeratul. They are trying to collapse on top of the Ethereal Angel, but 4 levels difference. It is so hard to penetrate this guy and his shields and his hit points. He is just not even going to care. And that was the ultimate evolution from Tomsy. Even with double Zeratul, they can't take down that lone Johanna. And look at this, ADRD and Zarmany say, we don't care about Johanna. We're going to just go straight to this top keep. Tower down. Keep is going to drop. The mule is way too late. And now with 2 more temples up, Mirrodin dropping there as well in the mid with the 3-man gangbang. This is looking like game, ladies and gentlemen, as Bob is poised to take this series 2-0. Zypho, Alistar, and Conti on the defense. We have the Tranquility, but it is just not going to be enough. The March of the Black King is absolutely real, and Zarmany with the damage out of his mind. My gosh, not only do we got double temples, but the entire team, 13 kills to 3 by the end of it, and a 4-level lead, pretty consistent from the 14-minute mark on. Team Bob, once more, with the win. They put up 2-0 and are going to be advancing to our winners match finals later today at the end of the broadcast. Congratulations to them. Phenomenal play through and through. And I got to say, rip Zoya. Rip Zoya. He would have loved this game, I'll tell you that. And we do apologize about the overlay stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it was Bob on the left, it was Kappa on the right. Silly Canadians, right? Silly Canadians, my God. Ridiculous kind of stats coming into this, just ridiculous gameplay. I said it back at draft. I'm pretty sure Bob got the better of the draft on that one, and they just did amazing. I gotta say, pretty flawless play. They dropped 3 kills overall, but the first 2 bloods was Tomsey into the top lane. He just didn't get any value from that Abathur. Didn't get top experience. Damage was okay. The siege damage just wasn't there. Like, I don't know. I think the idea was great. I think the Zeratul Abathur idea was great, but we just didn't have anything to follow it up with it. Like the Nazebo as a solo laner never really got any kind of value. Conti for Malfurion couldn't deal with apparently the distributed levels of damage, which is something that you don't really see a lot from Malfurion. But when you're down 4 levels at a time, I guess it really will overcome some of that tranquility and some of that awesome healing from Conti. 25,000 healing by the end of it, but not enough to put a point on the board. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Game, series, set, and match. That is going to be Team Bob up against Kappa123. But fret not, 2 more best of 3s that I'm really hoping I don't have to solo cast. They are going to be coming your way here in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break to set up our next, which I'm just getting told now is going to be Gamers 2 up against Janae Riodan, who apparently is one of the other qualifying teams. If you guys tuned in yesterday, you would have watched Virtus Pro and LGA Esports. LGA did fight its way through the qualifiers to be here. Janae Rodan, I guess, is the other team that made it to those finals, and they're going to be taking on the powerhouse gamers of Gamers 2. And that's going to be coming up here next on the Hitbox Stormgrounds, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Forgo Jester will be here, and hopefully you'll be here to keep him company. We'll see you guys in a few. And stay frosty. See you then.